Very basic Bible. Quick read through the book of Matthew. We're on chapter 26, verse 17. Let's start our 8-minute timer. Ready, set, go. On the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where do you want to make preparations for you to eat the Passover?" Passover, festival of unleavened bread. Same thing. He replied, "Go into the city to a certain man and tell him, 'The teacher says my appointed time is near. I am going to celebrate the Passover with my disciples at your house.'" So the disciples did as Jesus had directed them and prepared the Passover. When evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12. Prepared the Passover. Wonder what that, I guess it takes if you read in the Old Testament, there's a lot of stuff to do for that festival. Kind of like Thanksgiving dinner, you got a lot of preparation. Okay, anyway. And while they were eating, he said, Jesus, "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." We just talked about Jesus betraying him. They were very sad and began to say to him one after the other, "Surely you don't mean me, Lord?" Jesus replied, "The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born." Then Judas, the one who would betray him, said, "Surely you don't mean me, Rabbi." Jesus answered, "You have said so." He said so. He just said, "You don't mean me." I guess Judas was admitting it. I don't know. While they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take and eat. This is my body." Then he took a cup, and when he gave thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you. This is the blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins." So like I said, a Passover meal, they eat a bunch of food and stuff. So here they got bread, they got wine. Instead of doing Passover rituals, they might have done those, but Jesus does a new ritual. His body, the bread is his body, the blood is his cup, is the wine. "I tell you, I will not drink from this fruit of the vine from now until that day when I drink it with you in my Father's kingdom." He's talking about that, the kingdom of heaven. When they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Okay. Then Jesus told them, "This very night you will fall away on account of me. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered." So that is Zechariah 13:7. You can see it's capitalized. So he's quoting the Old Testament. "But after I have risen," he's told them he's going to rise many times, "I will go ahead of you into Galilee." Peter replied, "Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will." "Truly I tell you," Jesus answered, "this very night, before the rooster crows, you, Peter, will disown me 3 times. Peter said, "Okay, I guess I will." No. But Peter declared, "Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you." And all the other disciples did the same, said the same. Don't they know Jesus can tell the future? Okay. Then Jesus went with the disciples to the place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took Peter, and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him. He began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little further, so Jesus goes into the Garden of Gethsemane with all his disciples. He goes with all the disciples. Then he goes over here and takes 3 of his disciples. Then he goes a little further to pray. Okay. Going a little further, stay here and watch and keep watch with me. Okay. Going a little further, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." In the Old Testament, the cup was often the cup of wrath. Jesus said he's going to be beaten up and die. So then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." So Jesus went away a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." When he came back, He again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the third time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come, and the Son of Man is delivered into the hand of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." Is Judas coming? So wait, Judas wasn't with them? It says he took his disciples. I guess Judas, is it Judas? While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. I guess Judas ran off sometime during the supper or after the supper or sometime while they were praying, maybe. Okay. With him was if you read the other gospels, Judas left during the supper. Okay. With him was a large crowd armed with swords and clubs, sent from chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer, Judas, had arranged a signal with them. "The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him." A greeting. You kiss somebody as a greeting. Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Jesus replied, "Do what you have come for, friend." Or, "Why have you come, friend?" He still calls him friend. Then the men stepped forward, seized Jesus, and arrested him. Remember, they had let's say, some clubs and swords, a large crowd. Okay. With that, one of Jesus' companions reached for his sword, drew it out, and struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his ear. How did he not hit his shoulder? Maybe he did. "Put your sword back in its place," Jesus said to him, "for all who draw the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I cannot call on my Father, and he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels? But how would the scriptures be fulfilled that say it must happen this way?" And that hour, Jesus said to the crowd, so Jesus talking to the disciples, "Put your sword away. It must happen this way according to the scriptures." Then in that hour, Jesus said to the crowd, "Am I leading a rebellion that you have come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I sat in the temple courts teaching. You did not arrest me. But this has all taken place that the writings of the prophets might be fulfilled." Then all the disciples deserted him and fled. Just like Jesus said. Those who had arrested Jesus took him to Caiaphas. Remember earlier, Caiaphas, they all met in Caiaphas, the high priest place, to decide how they're going to kill Jesus. Okay. Those who had arrested Jesus took him to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the teachers of the law and the elders had assembled. But Peter followed him at a distance. Okay. Right up to the courtyard of the high priest. He entered and sat down with the guards to see the outcome. The chief priest and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for false evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death. But they did not find any, though many false witnesses came forward. Finally, 2 came forward and declared, because remember, by the word of 2 or 3 witnesses, you need 2 or 3. Okay, guys. Get back to the next very basic Bible. Remember to go to the show notes and look at the verse by verse detailed teaching to learn more. But until then, we'll continue our quick read next time.